Hey everybody, welcome back for Proverbs 30, verses 18 through 33. I'm glad you're here. If you got any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below. And if you would share this out with your friends list, I would appreciate it. Just an FYI for those that are continuing to follow those as we wrap up Proverbs here in the next couple of days, hopefully this week. I will probably put a pause on this video series for a while. Until I feel like there's something else that needs to go out, so that I can spend some more time in kind of my personal walk and my personal growth, and I hope that you will do the same. If you've got any questions or comments about that, just hit me up and we'll go from there. So verse 17. The eye that mocks a father and scorns to obey a mother will be picked out by the ravens of the valley and eaten by the vultures. I'm not sure if I did this last time or not, but we'll do it again. But anyway, so this disrespect for a mother or a father, basically is not going to be ignored. It says that the eye that mocks a father and scorns to obey a mother, the idea comes to mind of, rolling your eyes or just, something disrespectful. It says that will be picked out by the ravens of the valley and eaten by the vultures. A nice word picture for you this morning. Verse 18. 3 things are too wonderful for me, and 4 that I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a serpent on the rock, the way of a ship in the high seas, and the way of a man with a virgin. So part of the reason I did not get this out yesterday is because I was trying to do some research on some of these and try to figure out what exactly they were talking about and what they had to do with each other. Because you'll see there's 2 or 3 more where it's, 3 things are whatever, and then the 4th is whatever. And so it's just kind of a different setup. So the commentary I looked at pointed out that, the way of an eagle in the sky, it's not, you can't really trace it, you can't really follow it. There's no way you can look at a part of sky and say, oh, an eagle just went through there. A serpent on a rock, kind of the same thing. You're not going to look at a rock and know that a snake has crawled over it, whereas in the sand or in the grass, you may be able to tell. The way of a ship on the high seas, again, especially on the high seas, as it's, the rough waters. After a few minutes, you can't tell if a ship's been through there or not. And so it's just kind of a confounding thing, a hard to understand thing, and almost unimaginable. And it's comparing that to the way of a man with a virgin, the way, a man of the earth, a sinful man will seek out a lady companion. The things they do and the things they say, the lies they tell, etc. It's just kind of confounding. It's unimaginable that one person would ever use or would treat another person that way. If you think about it, if you remove yourself from the situation and think about it and the damage that's done in that situation. Verse 20, this is the way of an adulteress. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wrong. So, this kind of continuing that conversation is, she eats, she wipes her mouth and says, what? I've done no wrong. I've got nothing to be guilty of. And you get so deep into this lifestyle and this way of life that you don't realize the wrong that you've done or the wrong that you're doing, the damage that it's having on those around you. Verse 21, under 3 things the earth trembles, and 4 it cannot bear up: a slave when he becomes king, a fool when he is filled with food, an unloved woman when she gets a husband, and a maidservant when she displaces her mistress. So a couple things here. So again, we've got 4 things, and the 4th has kind of extenuated the exclamation point, maybe. So the first one is a slave when he becomes king, someone that's put into a ruling position that's not been trained or able to do that. Obviously, this is not saying that we should have a classed society where, someone that's a servant can never become a ruler. I don't think that's what it's saying at all. I think what it's saying is that someone that's not trained, someone that's not ready just to be carte blanche put into a ruling position is dangerous. They can do a lot of terrible things. A fool when he is filled with food. So a fool is basically loud and annoying enough when they want for food, when they don't have enough. But for him to, come into some money or to be treated to a special dinner or whatever, it just extenuates their foolishness, and it just becomes worse. An unloved woman, when she gets a husband, a woman that's been hurt, that's been damaged, just all of a sudden, falls in love and gets a husband real quick, but doesn't work on the issues that she brought with her into that relationship or whatever. She's just we're all damaged people, but this is, an especially damaged woman who doesn't deal with her issues and then just drops right into another relationship, and the damage that can be done there when it comes out, shortly down the road. And then the last one, the exclamation point, a maidservant when she displeases her mistress. So the idea here is that a maidservant is basically a husband is cheating on his wife with the maidservant, and she is displacing her mistress, the one that oversees her, and also all kinds of issues there. Verse 24: 4 things on earth are small, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants that are let me try this again. The ants are a people not strong, yet they provide their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a people not mighty, yet they make their home in the cliffs. The locusts have no king, yet they march in rank. The lizard you can take in your hands, and yet it is in the king's palace. So it's pointing out 3 things that are small, but have some wisdom that we could learn from. The ant, for being able to, it's not strong by itself. It's not able to stock up all at once, but yet they stock up incrementally, and they provide for themselves over the summer. When they can't find food, they've got it stocked up. The rock badgers, I saw this compared to like a field mice. And it's not a mighty people. It's a dangerous place for them to be. They're fragile. They can be easily killed, etc. But they make their homes in the cliffs so that no one messes with them. No one goes into their environment to seek them out. And so their protection is from where they choose to locate themselves. The locusts have no king, yet all of them march in rank. The locusts were said to be, God's army, in that, if there was, a plague or whatever and the crops were destroyed, it was just like, the locusts came in and it was just like one end of the field to the other, just wipe it out and done. And so the thing I kind of wanted to point out there is that even though they don't have a specific king like a bee or some other insects that have a known leader, they work together. They have teamwork, and they work together and cue off of each other and get the job done. The lizard you can take in your hands, yet it's in the king's palace. So the lizard's a small thing that you can just pick up and carry out. Yet it finds its way into a king's palace. There are some translations that also, instead of lizard, say spider. I don't know how those two are confused. But in any case, they're small things that in theory should be easy to get rid of, but they still find the way into even a king's palace, so there's no way to completely eradicate them. Verse 29 through 31. 3 things are stately in their tread, and 4 are stately in their stride. The lion, which is mightiest among beasts, and does not turn back before any. The strutting rooster, the he-goat, and a king whose army is with him. So I did not do a whole lot of research on this one, but 3 things that are stately or, bold and not turning back in their way of walking. The lion, which is mightiest among beasts, that just constantly has he's always the king of the jungle. There's no one to come against him. So he walks with pride, and he walks ruling the situation. The strutting rooster, the he goat, and a king whose army is with him. I think it's funny it pointed out that it's not a king whose army is not with him, because he may be walking a little scared, not having that protection with him. So, to compare this to ourselves, we can walk with confidence and, like a lion or a king whose army is with him, because we have God on our side, and we have protection, and we have someone looking out for us, that we don't have to worry about what the world's going to do to us, because we know that God's on our side, and God's going to protect us and take care of us, and there's not going to be anything happen to us that He doesn't allow, and He doesn't provide for. So we can walk in that confidence like a lion or a king, with the army, not without. And then lastly, verse 32 and 33, if you have been foolish, exhausting yourself, or if you have been devising evil, put your hand on your mouth. For pressing milk produces curds, pressing the nose produces blood, and pressing anger produces strife. So again, if you've been foolish, exhausting yourself, or have been divisive, stirring up trouble, it says put your hand on your mouth. Just stop talking. Cover yourself up. Make sure you do not continue this, because it's a natural consequence. So just as if you take full fat milk and you start pressing it, you will produce cheese curd. It's going to happen. There's no avoiding it. There's no. Sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes it won't. It's a given. Pressing the nose produces blood. So if you get punched in the nose, or if you push in your nose hard enough, eventually it'll bleed. It's not really a question. And then it's comparing that to pressing anger produces strife. So by pushing on anger, by stirring the pot, by causing strife and discord among people, you're going to produce strife and discord among people. That's by pressing the anger button, by pushing the anger envelope, you produce strife. That's just it's a matter of fact. Anyway, so that's the end of chapter 30. We will pick up with chapter 31 tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll wrap this thing up. Again, questions or comments, leave those in the section below. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.